Hey, 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 this is Paul Moore. Welcome to the BiggerPockets Live podcast at 9 p.m. Eastern on this beautiful October evening. How are you this evening? I'm Paul Moore. I'm a real estate investor, entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, host of the How to Lose Money podcast, and a bunch of other stuff. So it's great to be here with you this evening. We're going to have some fun. First of all, I need to know if you can hear me. So I assume since a few people said hi that you can, but would love to know someone who says they can hear me. My mic's on. That's good news so far. Welcome to Bigger Pockets. And hey, Brutus, where are you from? Hey, Aaron. Hey, Cole. It's Nick Bean. Hey, Yun Pak. Hey, Jackie. Jackie, okay, I got a yes that I can be heard on the YouTube side. So we got Facebook Live, YouTube Live. We're supposed to have Bigger Pockets Live, and I'm not sure the stream is working. So hopefully that is going to come up soon. But, oh, there it is. So, hey, how are you? So if you got questions on Bigger Pockets Live or YouTube Live or Facebook Live, go ahead and start the conversation. And we will go from there. I just love to hear where you're all from and what you're doing. So, Ignacio, hello. From Bigger Pockets. Okay, Joe Barra, hello. Peter Schuyler, hello. And man, there's a lot of people on here this evening. There must be some people from California on the Western time zone, the Pacific zone we're getting on here. So, hey Rob, hey Zarate Karate, which books are good for real estate investing? It depends what you want to do. Ask me that question again, narrow it down a little, and I'll see if I can give you an answer. Hi Juan Carlos from San Diego. Hey Cole. Thomas Lynch from New Hampshire. Hey, Kelly Osteen from South Carolina. Blue Moon from Orlando. Hey, Michael from Connecticut. Good to see you. Hey, Fernando from the Bay Area. Ignacio. Hola. Hola from Oklahoma City. Rob Arias. Yes, we hear you. Thank you. Okay, so I just want to let you know if you are writing me from the Facebook Live side and you don't get your question answered in about the first 5 minutes, that it's possible that I will not see your question at all. You'll need to repeat it. If you are writing me from the YouTube live side, chances are I will see it and I will get to your question. So same with Bigger Pockets Live. I see there's a handful of people on the Bigger Pockets side now. So I'm going to start hitting some of your questions after I say hello to a few more people. Hey, Cannon, Jesus loves you guys. All right. Donato, Manuel, yes. Hey, Paul, Sergi, yes. August Murray, loud and clear. Kitty Mom 2, hello. Chad Wagoner. Hey, Jackie from Dallas. Ed, Thomas Lynch, I already said hi to you. Okay. Nicole Byers from Central Illinois. Will be closing my first deal this month. Hey, let's everybody give the thumbs up. Hearts, likes to Nicole, who's going to be closing on her first deal. Hey, Sunny from India. Hey, Sunny from India. Man, you've got the floor if you want to ask a question. So glad to have you here. And by the way, if you like Bigger Pockets or if you like this episode, please give us a thumbs up, fist bump, hearts, a like. And if you can share this episode, I'm still trying to beat Brandon Turner. He's got like 90 shares as his record. And I think we got so many people on here tonight on these 3 channels. We should be able to do better than that. So I'm going to start answering your questions. So any questions you have at all. Hey, Dave, offered on my second one today, a 14 unit. Dave, if you can find a 14 unit that makes sense anywhere in America, congratulations. I'm not even going to ask you where it is because I don't want you to have to get any competition out of it. But man, congratulations. Hey, Jeremy. Hey, Lashika from Birmingham. Okay, so I'm going to do my very best to answer every question. I'm going to try to stay on here up to an hour if my voice can take it. And so here we go. So I'm going to start Sunny Roofstock. Okay, Lourdes Munoz. Okay, so if you have any questions, fire away. We'll see if we can answer them. So, hello, the best book for beginners on real estate. So you've probably already read Zarate Karate. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, probably why you're here on Bigger Pockets. I hear this hundreds of times. So Robert says the same thing. Um, I would say Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it would be my favorite. Someone says, I want to start wholesaling in San Diego. There is a company in San Diego who does a massive amount of wholesaling, Juan. And if you could link up with them and learn the business from them, that would be awesome. You can easily find them. There are three brothers. They're pretty well known around San Diego, and if I can think of their name, I will. They might be the Green Brothers or something. They're in San Diego. Which is the best state to start an LLC in, says Sawyer Bach. These are not in order, as you can tell. I would say Delaware. We're doing Delaware, and some people do Nevada. The reason is if you get sued in Delaware, there's all kinds of laws that make it really, really in your favor. And for one thing, they ram it right through the court system. You don't have to wait and leave your property or your business in limbo for months, years, whatever, while you're waiting for the court to hear you. In Delaware, they ram it right through. They've got business courts just for that. That's a long answer, but I would definitely try Delaware. I've heard Nevada's great. Andrew says, what is a good search tool for looking to buy apartments in your area? Get to know the brokers. That's probably the best way to do it. It's such a difficult time to find apartments, my friends. My company's been looking for a long time, and honestly, we're having a very hard time finding deals. And so I would get to know every broker you can. I would go knock on doors of apartment owners. I know that sounds crazy. What else can you do? There are probably some tools. The local MLS. Try something unusual. You can go on LoopNet. Everybody doesn't know LoopNet. It's a commercial real estate brokerage website that's national. You're welcome, Sawyer. David Barrera says, how do I wholesale a property from an investment company or an LLC? You can wholesale, man, guys, you got to hear this. You can wholesale through a self-directed IRA or 401k and make a massive profit. Think about it. So you go find a house to wholesale. You take $100 or whatever, $1,000 out of your self-directed 401k or a self-directed IRA that you can set up, and you put it down as your option consideration or your deposit on a house you want to wholesale. Then you sell that for a $20,000 profit. Do the math. You put $100 down, you got $19,900 profit. What is that? Like a 1,990 or 19,000% profit? Somebody do the math on that. It's amazing. So I would do it from an LLC, 401k, a self-directed 401k, a self-directed IRA, or your individual name. Wholesaling doesn't have the same risk tolerance that a long-term buy and hold would be. So that's what I would do. Derek Jones says, is it okay for beginners to get into fix and flips? Absolutely. Yeah, that's how we started. That's the very first deal we did was a fix and flip. We made $24,000 on it in like a few months. Brutus says, what's the best tools to run comps without a realtor? Gosh. Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. Thanks, Jackie. Thomas Lynch says, do you keep property maintenance and capital improvements budgets separate? Yeah, absolutely. That's very important to keep those separate. There's lots of reasons for that. What's a general rule of thumb of amount per unit per year? It depends on the age, depends on the type of unit. We like to go with $300 in capital expenses. We like to hold aside per unit per year. For maintenance, we like to budget maybe $500, $600, $700 for unit per year. It depends on so many different factors. Cole Martin says, can you talk more about the benefits and drawbacks of using an FHA loan on a live-in duplex? Well, you have to live in it, but you only have to live in it for a year. So that's one big benefit. If you want a house hack in a duplex, FHA loan is awesome. Low money down. Seller can pay the closing costs. All kinds of benefits to using that. Yunpak says, is it usual that the agent charges the buyer 1% to 2% in commission in a purchase? Yeah, residential purchase, I would expect to have a 6% total commission. And if they charge you an additional 1% or 2%, you are in a capitalistic society, at least you're able to say, no, I'm not going to pay that. Or you can say yes. But in a commercial deal, it's very different. Usually in a large commercial deal, the selling agent, the listing agent, excuse me, gets all the commission. And so if your buyer agent's going to make anything, they might have to get it from you. So yeah, 1 to 2 is pretty normal in that situation. I am back over here on Facebook Live. Glenn says, how do you get around low loan amounts under 80,000 with banks, mortgages with an LLC? I don't know. I don't know how to tell you. I don't know how to answer that. I'm so sorry. You've completely stumped me. If you want to rephrase the question, I will try my best to answer it. I'm sorry. I'm truly stumped. Fernando says, if you live in a hot market like the Bay Area, does single family home buy and hold still make sense? I've heard it doesn't in general. What would you do if you live here and you're just starting in real estate and have a full-time job? I would absolutely go and do the Airbnb landlording thing that I wrote about 2 weeks ago or so on BiggerPockets. The article says something like how to make $10,000 passively without quitting your day job. That's absolutely what I would do. I would recommend that you check that out. It's a really cool strategy using Airbnb and corporate housing combined. We're doing it at my property and having great success. Jeff Oberts just bought a duplex for $52,800 appraised at 85 before we finish the second unit, probably worth 95 or 100. Flip or hold? Oh man, Jeff, it depends on your long-term goals. What would you think about refinancing it, taking out all your cash so you have zero left in risk? And again, maybe not every penny of your cash. And then going on and like rinse and repeat. It sounds like the BRRRR strategy. I probably said the wrong number of R's. Eric Glenn, shop around. I picked up a condo through Fifth Third. Okay, so Fifth Third is a bank that is based, I think, in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I hopefully Eric answered Glenn's question better than I did because I failed. Eric says total loan was under 50,000. Okay, Fernando, and by the way, if you guys want to answer, guys and gals, if you want to answer each other's questions, I'd be thrilled because I don't think I'm going to get to all of them. I am kind of overwhelmed with how many questions are coming in, and I'm so honored that you're asking, but I don't think I'll have time to get to everyone. So I love it when you answer each other's questions. And please do me a favor. If I say something wrong, will you correct me? Because I had a guy on here once who just was like, oh, no, you're wrong on that. You're wrong on that. And I'm like, that's great. I learned something. Catchem says, how do I buy a property subject to and not dealing with the bank? Quick answer. Can you tell me more about your specific situation? I think I want to answer it right. I feel like you might go act on something I say, and I don't think I know enough to answer that fairly. Sydney says, when using the BRR strategy after getting the house refinanced, can I take less than what it appraised for? Can I take less than what it appraised for? In other words, can you refinance it based on a lower number so you have a lower loan amount? Sure. Like in other words, if they'll give you $100,000 loan and you only want 90, yes. And if you mean you want to sell it on the other end, I think that would be different than the burst strategy, in my opinion. What's the best first must-take step to get started? Miramil says, I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. I would go check out Al Williamson's Airbnb strategy, corporate housing Airbnb strategy. You can check it out. You can find him online. Or you can just private message me. I'll try to get you his information. Thomas Lynch, what do you think about using mortgage brokers versus going directly to a bank to obtain an owner-occupied loan? They're both, like, I would try both. I would think a local small town bank, credit union, like one of those locals, are generally a much better way to go. You can get more flexibility. Credit unions are awesome. I use them myself for smaller deals. Glenn Paulson says, mortgage banker won't do a cash out refi with a 100% equity owned condo. Looking to cash out for the next deal. Banker said it, LLC was the issue. I don't want to hold it personally. Okay. So Glenn, I just met with a banker with my son, who said he kind of criticized my son and I think he was right, for holding properties in his own name. He said he should put them in the LLC and then they'd be happier to deal with them. So if you're hearing something opposite, man, that is just like some local difference that like BB&T Bank, which is big all over most of the East, they like them in an LLC. So if your bank doesn't, I don't know what to say. Glenn, we are working with business banking in my state. Yeah, go to Glenn, check out credit unions, check out local banks. They're sometimes a lot more flexible. Willie Smith says new construction or value add fourplex. Which would you do? Well, I'm old, man. I am in my mid 50s, and I would go for a value add. Ground up construction is a lot more risky. You can have cost overruns, can have all kinds of issues. So I would definitely go with a value add from where I'm at. Can you make more money on a ground up construction? Yes. You can also lose your shirt, and I can tell you stories, and I can show you my history where I did lose money from ground up construction at least twice. Zarate Karate, which cities have the best real estate markets? So Houston was named #1 for commercial multifamily in a recent Green Street report. And I thought Dallas was close to #1 and they weren't. And I'll leave it at that. There's a lot of difficult places right now because they're overheated. And everywhere is overheated. Even in my small town of Lynchburg, Virginia, in Roanoke, Virginia, in this area, that we're just finding that the prices, even on duplexes, are really too high. Willie Smith, yes, you're welcome. Any opinion on buying land and building on it? Sergi, same thing I just said. Like, it's more dangerous, but it's great if you can pull it off, especially if you can rezone. Now, if you can get some land as zoned for a single house and build a fourplex, now that could really be powerful, especially if you already have it under contract or own it. Thomas says, any thoughts on the market in New England? Hey, somebody else pitch in on that. I don't know New England very well. Cleveland isn't doing too bad, not the best. Mr. B. Okay, I'm from Ohio myself. Okay, I'm going to go back through some of these, and if anybody on BiggerPockets Live has something to say, please say it. All right, what's the best first step to get started? I already tried to answer that. Hey, if you guys haven't heard of lease option sandwiches, I would try that. Try a lease option sandwich. It's also called a rent to own sandwich. It's also called something else. So should we wait until the next crash if we're sitting on cash? Brian, I'm going to give you my completely personal opinion. I was starting to think that. The question is, if we're sitting on cash, should we wait till the next crash to buy? And I was getting so frustrated with trying to find multifamily that I was starting to think that's what I was going to do. But then I discovered self-storage investing and mobile home park investing, and I came to the conclusion that there are all kinds of opportunities in both self-storage and, to maybe a lesser degree, mobile home park investing that I think has changed my mind on that. So I would consider investing in those pockets if you have an opportunity. Willie says best cash flow markets. I don't know. What do you guys think? What are the best cash flowing markets? I know some of the worst are where you happen to pay these 3 and 4% or even less cap rates that are really hard to invest in. Willie, I would look for markets where you can get like a normal price still, like Lynchburg, Virginia, Roanoke, Virginia, where I am. I mean, things are overheated here. There might be places in the country. I would love for someone to chime in. If you don't want to give away your secret, I understand. Hey, Jaquita from the DMV, but if you don't want to give away your secret, I get it. But hey, Mozil says, do you think the next real estate crashing will happen in the next 2 years? I actually don't. I kind of think that like we're in the new normal right now for multifamily. So I don't actually think we're in an absolutely overheated bubble. But my friends, let me tell you, you can only spot a bubble in the rear view mirror. Okay? You cannot see it in front of you. Warren Buffett, Howard Marks, these people say we gave up long ago trying to predict where we were in the cycle. We just want to act appropriately in whatever stage of the cycle we're in. And that's what you all need to understand. And that's what I need to understand. I want to act appropriately in the cycle that I'm in, not try to predict when the next crash is going to be, because it's really hard. A lot of people did call the last crash. Howard Marks and his company, Live Oak, no, it's not right, Oak Tree Capital, they deployed like $500 million a week in distressed debt right in the middle of the crash because they were ready. They had cash ready. Austin Y says, how to make recession-proof investments. The best three I know of. So healthcare in general is a great investment, but we're talking about real estate here. So that would be one. Another one would be mobile home parks, and because they have a shrinking supply and a static or so demand. Self-storage. Think about it. When people are downsizing in a recession, they're putting their stuff somewhere. And so a lot of people are putting stuff into self-storage, and the last recession proved this, as self-storage did much better than most sectors. Brian, okay, Glenn says, any thoughts on turnkey for buy and hold? I'm mixed on that, Glenn. If you can get somebody you really, really, really trust, I've heard our friends and I don't know them personally, but I've heard Memphis Invest, who are really involved on BiggerPockets. I've heard they do a phenomenal job. Check them out. Make sure they have a long track record. There have been people burned in turnkey buy and holds. And if that's you on here, I'm sorry, but I know people have been burned. But yeah, I think it's certainly possible to do that. I'm not going to say Glenn, I'm not going to answer that and say anything bad about anybody, but I will say I've heard Memphis Invest does a great job. Jump in real estate. What's your best advice when it comes to negotiating with a seller? You can contact me offline if you want to chat more about that, but again, I don't know what I don't know about so many companies. Check them out. I'm back to Glenn's question, sorry. Check them out on Google, check them out on BiggerPockets, throw it out in the forum, Glenn, and ask people who have done turnkey buy and hold, and ask them what they think of any company you're considering, okay? Jump in real estate. What's your best advice when it comes to negotiating with a seller? If you want to give me a specific scenario, I'll do my best, but my very best advice is be ready to walk away at any moment. And I don't mean just fake it. I mean be ready, because people can usually read you and tell if you're telling the truth. Be ready, be so disinterested, as Warren Buffett and Howard Marks would say, that you are ready to walk away at any moment. You don't care, and you don't need it, and don't show that you're desperate. That's my best advice. Okay, jump in real estate. Okay, I'll let you read. Anybody on Facebook Live can read those comments. Brian Kelly says, what is the ideal cash on cash R divided by RIO percentage? Can you explain that a little more, Brian? I'm not sure I totally understand. Willie Smith says SEP IRA or solo 401k for tax savings. Okay, Willie. I am pretty excited to tell you all that I think that the self-directed IRA, SEP IRA, of course these are both self-directed, I think the self-directed IRA is awesome. I've had them for like 15 years. I just went to a seminar and found out about the solo 401k. Guys, it is awesome. And I think it's much better, in my humble opinion, than the self-directed IRA. And I would go for the solo 401k. You can set aside like $5,500 a year into the self-directed IRA. Check this out. You can put like $24,000 a year into a solo 401k, and then plus up to $37,000 more depending on your income. And there's all kinds of other benefits, kind of crazy benefits that the solo 401k has. Now, what I don't know is the downsides to the solo 401k. Oh, here's another one. You can actually be your own property manager. You can cut your own grass, do your own maintenance, do your own cleaning if you have a solo 401k property. Go figure. You can't with a self-directed IRA. When I invested with my self-directed IRA, they said, don't even go on the property. Don't even go on it, because you're going to probably get in some kind of trouble as a person that shouldn't. It's called a prohibited transaction. And here's another weird thing. With a brother or sister, you can loan them money or you can do deals with them with a solo 401k, but you can't with a self-directed IRA. Justin Hilton says, thoughts on HELOC for investing? Thanks for your patience. I know you asked that before. Awesome. Awesome. HELOC. There are ways, and I do not have the website in front of me, but you guys can Google it. There are ways to pay off like a 30-year mortgage on your primary residence in like 6 years by using a HELOC as your primary mortgage. I think it's called replaceyourmortgage.com or something, but I mean, I don't know for sure. Replace Your Mortgage, something like that. Check it out. But oh man, as far as for investing, it's great. Pull money out of, I mean, you've got it paid down. Let's say you've got it paid down to zero. Pull money out on the dime to go make an offer on a house on the courthouse steps, a wholesale deal, whatever. You have cash at the ready, but you're not paying interest on it till you need it. It's awesome. For the love of music, how would a 17-year-old get started in the real estate game? Read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Go out and try Airbnb landlording, corporate housing, I would also try wholesaling, although it's really hard in some markets. You're going to have to come some creative way to do it. And also rent to own or lease option sandwiches. Okay? So Willie agreed there with wholesaling. So Roddy Karate is 23, a late age for the game of investing. Oh man. So Roddy, no, you're so perfectly, unbelievably well positioned at 23 to invest. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Brian Kelly, I think you repeated that because I didn't understand. What's the ideal cash on cash percentage for a buy and hold? I would say you're going to want to try to have some padding in there. So, maybe go for, try to get 10, 12, 13, 15%. And then that would be what I would shoot for. And then if the roof goes bad or the bathroom, if the toilets break or something, you have some room. But that's my opinion. Love to hear from you all to answer Brian. What is the ideal cash on cash percentage for buy and hold? Are Mr. Robert Kiyosaki's books really helpful? Elise says, I don't know anything about the training program, but I've heard I know his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is awesome. And most of the people on here, or many people probably, have read that. Jump in Real Estate says, can you get a HELOC on an investment property? Yeah, you have to know the right bank to go to. That's the key, okay? You have to know the right bank or credit union, and there are some that will, some that won't. Who was the Airbnb landlording article book you referenced? Okay, there's a guy named Al Williamson, and I don't know his website, like airbnblandlord.com maybe. Check that out. I think that's his website. And Al Williamson has this most amazing program. What's the best way to learn wholesaling? Jeffrey Go says, there's probably a lot of books out there. You probably can find some references on BiggerPockets. It's very, very profitable. It's also incredibly competitive. Eric says, I can't get a HELOC on any of my rentals. Okay, Eric, if you check out that website I said earlier, I think it was replaceyourmortgage.com, I heard that they have a list of banks who will do HELOCs as a primary mortgage. Eric says just a 75% LTV cash out refinance. Okay, thank you for the Airbnb reference. You're welcome. Okay, I've got some questions on the BiggerPockets side. Cameron McCurdy. Cameron, there you go. As a 21-year-old about to graduate debt-free, what do you recommend for investing in the Midwest? It's so hard to find anything. I don't mean to be discouraging, but try to find a single family, a duplex to house hack. I love that you're debt-free. That's awesome. I would say that you want to try a lease option sandwich if you can jump in on that, or Airbnb. Airbnb arbitrage, by the way, if one person asks me what it is, I will spend some time explaining that. But I've got so many questions here. I would do the Airbnb arbitrage. Again, I wrote an article called How to Make $10,000 a Month passively without quitting your day job. It was about 2 weeks ago on BiggerPockets, so that would be late September. Check that article out. That would save all of us a lot of time hearing the explanation. Okay, Jason Toledo says Al Williamson's website is leadinglandlord.com. So I don't know what I said earlier. Probably said Airbnb landlord. Phil says, Paul, when you say that your market is overheated, what are you looking at, say, for a 4-family and rents? I think you're saying what's the price of like a 4 unit and what are the rents? Well, I don't shop at all in my market. I just know it's really overheated. I'm not looking in Lynchburg or Roanoke, Virginia. So I would love to hear from somebody else on here what a 4-family purchase and rents are in your market, because it would be a lot more valuable in hearing from a guy who's not even in that market. Can you take a HELOC on an investment property? We chatted about that. I'm 99% sure that you can. Find a local credit union, guys, gals. Find a bank. Find somebody in your area who's willing to be way more, that's willing to work with you. My son is working with a local banker. I cannot believe how flexible they've been with him. He is flipping large tracts of land. He's doing really well. And he has a banker that I can't even believe the deals they're giving him. They got tremendous flexibility, at least in good times like this. Jose Garcia, what are some tips for beginners taking on a fix and flip? Learn the business, like learn it yourself. Don't trust contractors only. I mean, if you have a contractor you know is absolutely solid and they charge a little more, pay them. It's worth it, but try to learn all you can yourself. Try to do all you can yourself. Try to take into account the time value of money, the cost of holding, the interest costs, and please, everybody listen to me, no matter what you're doing, whether it's corporate housing, Airbnb, fix and flips, not wholesaling, whatever you're doing, stage the house and get a professional photographer in there. Can I get a thumbs up on that? Can I get a heart on that? Please give me a like on that if you agree. I have learned, I had a house on Greenbrier Avenue in Roanoke, Virginia, which I couldn't sell for like 3 years. We staged it. We did a crummy job. We staged it and we sold it within weeks. And they wanted the furniture, by the way. So we sold them that too. Navy Federal will go up to a 95% loan to value on a primary residence. Thanks, Willie Smith. Okay, I'm going to go over here to, somebody said something about 7%. Okay, somebody says, and I'm so sorry I can't pronounce your name, but I really do appreciate it. Oh, please say you. I butchered that. Ideal cash on cash, it depends, but I guess I try to beat the 7% average from the stock market, and the higher you go, the better. Okay, that sounds pretty cool. That's pretty close to the 12 or 13 I said. Y'all, please take into account most things take twice as long as you expect. They cost twice as much as you expect, and they're twice as hard as you expect. And I'm so sorry to tell you, if you're new, they're probably going to be half as profitable until you get in a rhythm. Okay? So, man, I sound like such a doggy downer. Please don't shout me down, guys. It's late, and I'm really trying. Okay, JJ Pass says staging works and a ton of hearts. Thank you. Much love from Seattle real estate broker. How's the market in Seattle? Is it softening yet? My goodness, it's hot. Peter Schuyler says, I'm tapped out also. I'm not going to flip. Bummer. Willie says, any insight on getting a Colorado, a CO, okay, certificate of occupancy a lot faster. Yeah, make friends with your building inspector. And if you're in Russia, bribe them. I was kidding. Can I move in while waiting with a temporary? I don't know. You'll have to ask your local building inspector. Don't cross them though. I'm converting a commercial to a 2-family. Congratulations, Willie. Good job. That's great. One cash. Fahim Ahmad 1 says one cash. I already missed it. It's gone. The Facebook side, like guys, like when you're live, it doesn't, like I can't see all the problems. Jump in real. I can't see all the prompts. I can't see all your comments. They go away, and you might think, well, he's not a millennial. No wonder he can't see them. Yeah, I'm not a millennial, but I have had my millennial friends try to fix this, and nobody can. Eric says, need more information on HELOC possibilities. Replaceyourmortgage.com, or don't even Google that. Replace your mortgage with a HELOC. Okay, guys, again, I don't make any money from this. I think it's like going and Google that. You guys, it's so amazing what you can do. Well, I've had enough questions on this, on the HELOC, so I'm just going to get into this for a minute. So, okay, so imagine, okay, in very big picture terms, imagine you doing this, okay? You get paid on the first of the month, okay? You pay down your HELOC. Let's just say you make, I'm just going to make a number up, $10,000. Let's say you and your spouse or whatever. You pay your mortgage down the day one of the month, the day you get your paycheck, by, let's say, $10,000. You put all your paycheck into there. Then you start paying every possible bill on a credit card, okay? A credit card. Yeah, I said it, Dave Ramsey. You don't know where I live, do you? No, seriously, pay it on a credit card that gets incredible points, incredible mileage. Do that for 30 days. Then you get a credit card bill on, let's say, day 35. Then you've got like 20 more days to pay it. Now you pay off that credit card with the HELOC, a check from the HELOC. Now you're like 40 days out. You just had your interest paid down, but up to $10,000 in my example for like 30, 40, 50 days, okay? Then you put your next paycheck in, pay it down again, and then allow it to grow back up, then pay it down again. And what you do is you knock your 30-year mortgage with no significantly increased effort into like a 6-year mortgage, okay? I haven't done it yet, but I know that lots of people are telling me this works. Check it out. Replace your HELOC with replace your primary mortgage with a HELOC. Okay, Eric, I hope that helped. That was a long answer, and I hope that works. Catty the Cat says, I dare you to watch cake farts. Okay, anybody up for that? I don't know what you mean, but that's a great idea. It's funny. Elise says, any special tips for real estate investing in Germany? I'm so sorry, Elise. I don't have any, but if anybody else would comment on that, that would be great. Okay, so can anyone go over the 1 or 2% rule? So simple answer. If you I've got $100,000 property, you should be trying to get 1% in rent. So that would be $1,000 a month. If you got a $50,000 property, you should be at $500 a month. And by the way, if you're buying a C class or heaven forbid a D class property, or worse, an E. No, I'm just kidding. Watch out. There's going to be so much hassle, so many problems. You might think you're getting a great deal. Listen to my podcast, How to Lose Money, about the lady who bought in Buffalo. It was a screaming deal, or Niagara Falls, actually, I think. And it was a screaming deal until she realized the hassles and that her apartments were drug dens, and it was just a nightmare. I think it was in the newspaper and everything. She had a horrible time. Brian Stanley, should your first property be under personal name or under an LLC? That's debatable. A lot of people think you should only do an LLC, and some people think it's not that big a deal to put it in your name. I've honestly done both. If you want to be safe, I guess an LLC. And some people say, even attorneys, some of them say you can put multiple properties in one LLC. Some say one LLC per property. Niall says, what do you think about the Michigan or Baltimore, Maryland market for buy and hold? Yeah, it depends. Every market's local, and I don't really know. Brian Stanley already answered, if you have $500,000 cash, how would you invest it in real estate? So, I'm so sorry. Chugtai asked that. I would put it in self-storage and maybe some in mobile home parks. I would probably balance it in those. That's what I'm looking at right now. We're looking at investing a couple $1 million in those exact assets. So I can honestly tell you that's exactly what I would do, because that's what we're going to do. In fact, our company is pulling together not more than a handful, probably 20 or 30 of our friends to invest in some of these things in the coming months. So we are loving those areas. Can't find anything in multifamily right now, even though I wrote a book called The Perfect Investment about multifamily investing. And the perfect investment's not perfect if you can't find any deals, right? And so I'm man enough to admit it. That's a joke from Cheaper by the Dozen. But I'm humble enough, seriously, to admit that I was right on my what I believe about multifamily being so awesome. But unfortunately, millions of other people believe it as well, and the market is really, really heated up. And I don't know that it's overheated. It may just be the new normal. I don't know. Christian says, what do you recommend for beginners with not very big budgets? Flipping or investing? If you can do wholesaling, or if you can do a lease option sandwich, or if you can do Airbnb landlording, or Al Williamson's corporate landlording deal, man, it is awesome. And that's what I'd recommend if you have a small budget. If you can find a wholesale deal, especially, well, I mean, if it's in a 401k, self-directed 401k or IRA, it's really awesome. Okay, DJ Boo Boo One says, I have a deal under contract for 60K. It's a 4-unit, wow, fully occupied, but the lender that I'm working with won't lend under 50. Huh? So because of my 20% down payment, I will be well under 50,000. Is there, oh man, that's going to be a really good question. A creative way to get around that. I don't understand the question, and this time I don't think it's because I'm stumped. I think I'm reading it wrong. Hey, so DJ Boo Boo, I think this would be good for everybody. Can you explain this again? You've got it under contract. What, is it to buy? It's a 4-unit property. It's fully occupied. They won't lend less than 50. So because of my 20% down payment, I'll be under 50. That's where I got lost. Dane, hey there from Ontario. Hi. Sawyer Bach, there are some, I'm not sure I would talk to, okay, somebody, he's answering somebody else. Thank you for answering. Please answer each other, y'all. I can't do all these questions, and I've been wrong on things before and probably am right now. So jump in real estate, crime data and school quality is a good first indicator of neighborhood class. Yeah, we like violent crime. We care a little less about property crime because it could be in an area where a beautiful mall is and there may be some cars ripped off. We care a lot about violent crime. And, oh, the class of the neighborhood is what you're answering. Thanks, Glenn. Neighborhoodscout.com. And if you, hey, are you all a BiggerPockets Pro member? If you're not a BiggerPockets Pro member, use the code BP1234 and you can get a discount on your BiggerPockets Pro membership. I hope. I think it's working. You can get Neighborhood Scout at a discount. We use it all the time to evaluate neighborhoods, okay? You can evaluate the school quality, the crime scores, the income levels, the demographics, all kinds of stuff on neighborhoodscout.com. And you can get that by becoming a BiggerPockets Pro member. Working with BiggerPockets has been the single smartest thing I've done in my 24 years as an entrepreneur. And I've said it many times. So, Fahim, I've tapped myself out using my own money to buy a few buy and holds with mortgages. Any idea on how to move forward from here? Yeah, find some investors who are willing to invest with you. You might be able to find investors in your local RIA. You can, Real Estate Investing Association. You might be able to find investors on BiggerPockets. Try to find people with IRA money. Like my friend has like a couple million probably in his IRA, and he loans it to people at 12% interest. That sounds like hard money to me. And by the way, that's another way to do it. Find a good hard money lender. But that's what I'd answer that, Fahim. Umbrella policy versus LLC. I would say that that's a really good question. Do you want an LLC or just get an umbrella policy on yourself? I do both, but if you want to save some money, maybe just go with the umbrella policy for now. And I don't want to be, I'm not an attorney. I don't play one on TV. That's not even funny anymore. Huh? But anyway, I would try both if you can. RDD says, is it turning back into a buyer's market? Yeah, like in a few places like New York City, I heard it is. I heard there's some places in Miami that are softening. Um, Denver has gone from a few hours average on the market to a few days. I'm being slightly tongue in cheek, but seriously, come on. Denver's crazy. Ian Cardona says, what's an umbrella policy? It's an insurance policy that's kind of a catch-all. It's like an umbrella over you. And if something slips through and they sue you successfully on for something that none of your policies picked up, the umbrella is supposed to cover you. I don't know if it works. Thank God I've never had a situation where I needed to be in that situation. So I've never had to use it, but I do have the policy. Rock8284 asks about Louisiana. Come on, everybody, tell me. If you're from Louisiana, tell Rock what the market is like in Louisiana. I heard that Baton Rouge is still really hopping, has been since Katrina 13 years ago, since a lot of people moved over to Baton Rouge, but I'm sure there's others. How much, and New Orleans, of course, is always, it bounced back much quicker than anybody thought. Real estate market in Miami, I heard it's still going crazy in general. A few people said softening near the beach. I don't know. How much do you think a hard money, private money would charge on a HELOC of 80,000 equity? What do y'all think? 7% at least. I would say a private money person would be 7, and a hard money person would be at least 10% interest. That's my guess. Dev Horn says, what's your opinion of subject to purchases of single family rentals? Hey, so Dev, this question came up earlier, and I don't know if it's because it's late at night or I'm just forgetting what that means, but can you explain exactly what that means? I'm trying to be humble here and admit that I don't remember. I think I knew that term like 15 years ago, but I haven't used it. So somebody jump in. Don't shout me down. Just tell me a little more what you mean. Crime data, yeah. Okay, so Roddy Crowdy, what exactly is mobile home park investing? That would be investing with a syndicator who buys mobile homes, mobile home parks, operates the park, and gives the investors a return on investment. Brian says, I work seasonally and want to invest during the off season. How hard is it to get a bank loan while technically unemployed? Would I need a co-signer? I think you mean. Yeah, you probably need a co-signer. I think it would be hard while you're unemployed to get a loan, but I don't know. If you're a teacher, I would think that they would look at that like, well, that's normal, that you're off in the summer. Phil K says, in my market, I'm looking at 3 families, usually go for 350 to 400, renting at 1,400 per unit. Well, that looks really good. Thinking about FHA and moving in, but the numbers just aren't working out. Yeah, so if you're moving into one of those units, obviously that's going to drop your numbers to below break even. But hey, it still sounds pretty good to me, Phil. Fahim says, any opinion about a company like Roofstock? No, I don't know. If anybody knows anything about Roofstock, let us know. Dev Horn says, buying the house by assuming the owner's loan. Of course, I knew that. I'm kidding. I did know that one time. So that's a lease option sandwich, or that's similar to a lease option sandwich. Yeah, you can assume the owner's mortgage if you do not trigger their due on sale clause. Okay, so I did know something about this, even though I looked like an idiot a minute ago. If you don't trigger the due on sale clause, you can buy a house subject to assume their current mortgage. You make the payments on it. Don't give them the money and say, make sure you make the payments or you'll be sorry. You make the payments. And if they don't like that, then work out some kind of a thing where you prove to them that you make every payment on time in advance and all that. Yeah, I think it's a great way to buy a house, and it can really work. And that's very similar to a rent-to-own or lease option sandwich. Thanks, Dev. Appreciate it. Yeah, so hopefully that helps. I think it's a great thing to do if you can. There's other variations of that, like land contract is a little bit similar. Like I said, a rent to own, a lease to own sandwich or a lease option sandwich. I love it. We're not going to spend time on it unless no, we're not going to spend time on it. So feel free to check it out yourself. Lease option sandwich online. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. It's 10 minutes till the hour. And what I'm going to do is ask you if you have asked a question and you have not got it answered yet, please copy and paste it back in, and I'm going to try to do a lightning round and try to answer every question I can. All right, here we go. So, Gunshai Tai, I'm so sorry. Please elaborate on why you would invest in storage and mobile home parks. There's so many reasons. I got like a 20-minute, 30-minute presentation on why I would do it. You can get a hold of me through private message, and I will try to answer you. I really hope you will. It's Paul Moore, and I don't know, like you can just go on BiggerPockets or check me out at wellingscapital.com, and I'll tell you why we are switching over from multifamily to self-storage and mobile home parks. Getting ahead of myself again. Okay, Glenn Paulson, are your properties in an LLC? Yes. Ed says, how can I structure a partnership? I have the deal, my friend has the money, but I don't know how to structure for my tax ownership standpoint. Does he just transfer the money to me to buy it, or how? I would get hold of a tax strategist or a CPA or a business attorney to get some advice. I don't make any money from this, folks, but there's our tax strategist. There is a great tax strategist who is a member of BiggerPockets. You can just you can message me and I'll send you his contact info. Another guy is Warren Tarl. That's Taryle, Tarl Accounting. He will help you set all that stuff up. Hey, Jamie from Guam. I'm so sorry. I just don't know like how else to answer that in the short time I have. Thomas Lynch, would you say there should be a cap, a money cap to various budgets should be maxed out at? Example, maintenance budget for a fourplex capped at 10,000, and you just maintain that level as expenses come up. In other words, are you putting in 10,000 in reserve? Is that what you're asking, Thomas? I would say that's a huge amount to put in reserve for maintenance and even capital and maintenance combined, and then you just maintain that amount, that level. That's more than you need. Sure, I mean it's great to have a reserve fund, and like almost everybody thinks you should do that, and some lenders will make you do that. Glenn says, do you own any condos or townhomes? No, not anymore. Denise says, hello. Thomas said, yes, I answered it right. So the question again about mobile home parks and self-storage. So one answer to that is there are such a huge supply of self-storage. There's 53,000 self-storage facilities in the U.S. That's the same as all Starbucks, Airbnb, McDonald's, and Subways combined. Airbnb, what? And so the reason it's so powerful is 40,000 of the 53,000 or so are owned by mom and pops. And some of those are in a path of growth. And many of those have more land to build on. And many of those are not doing good marketing. Some of them, for goodness sake, don't even have a website. So self-storage, there's incredible opportunities to value add upgrade self-storage. There's not, I could talk about it for hours. Get hold of me, we'll talk about it. Niso says, Sue says, what do you think of Puerto Rico or Panama both as a U.S. Dollar currently? I'm so sorry, I don't know how to answer that. I don't have an answer. Have you ever depreciated a property over a period of time, then reinvested in a similar property to eliminate tax liability? Yes, I think that's a great idea. And I think that Sawyer, from what I've heard, I've never done it. I've heard you can reconfigure the ownership on that and start the depreciation clock over. You basically recapitalize it. You sell it from one LLC to another one. Now the new LLC is going to have different owners, right? But maybe you're the common denominator in both. And then you can start the depreciation clock all over. Do I know this? No. Am I a tax tax attorney? No. But I've heard that you can do that. Thomas Lynch says, do you tend to use the same home insurance for all your deals, or do you shop around? Once I got a great home insurance company, I stopped shopping. Mine is Rockingham Mutual in Virginia, and their prices are so much lower than others that I've been really happy with them. But you should always shop it. Yeah, okay, so that's the right answer, Paul. You should always shop around. Nisu says, went to a seminar on self-storage. He's right on. Thank you. Thomas Lynch, do you tend to use the same? Oh, you already asked that, and I already answered it. Okay, I'm getting tired. You're getting tired. Let's see. Sergi says, how do these mobile home parks work legally? What should the land be zoned for? If you are trying to create a mobile home park on your land, go right to your planning and zoning board and see if you can get that done, because I've heard it's very, very difficult to get a new mobile home park approved. So Roddy Karate, what's mobile home park investing? There's a seminar out there called Dave and Frank. No, it's Frank and Dave, mobile home park investing. You can go check that out. I don't know those guys. I've heard it is a great seminar. In fact, there was one last weekend in Charleston, South Carolina. There's one coming up in November in Austin, Texas. And I've never been to one, but I'm really interested in going to learn more. So that's mobile home park investing. Glenn says, do you own out-of-state properties? Yes. Tips for vetting property management companies. Glenn, ask them how large they are, how many units they have, what kind of software they use. Is it a national software, or have they cobbled together an Excel and Word document on their own? Ask them for references. My company believes that the choice of the location and the property management company together are these two most important details in getting any multifamily property to the point of success. So property management and location, and I'm talking about the city and the actual location within the city. Okay, so questions are slowing down. People are going to bed. I'm getting ready. Glenn says, do you own out-of-state properties? I just answered that. You know he's getting tired when he answers his own questions 3 times. Yes. Is the housing market reducing? Hi from Ontario. Okay, self-directed 401ks. Where would I go? I use Equity Trust Company for my self-directed IRA. But I think you can use sdinvesting.com or something. I can't remember. SD stands for self-directed, of course. Just Google that instead of putting the URL in, and you'll find it. Self-directed 401k. You put that in, you'll come up with this SD something investing. I don't know them very well. Talked to him once. You mentioned Airbnb, but I am in the construction industry and can do electric and carpentry work myself. Does that make flipping a home a better option? Not necessarily, Cameron. Depends where you are. I love the Airbnb corporate housing business, and I love the arbitrage way to do it. And the arbitrage way to do it is, according to my article, you basically rent a unit or a house month to month, beautifully furnish it, stage it, professionally photograph it, start doing Airbnb, and then look for long-term tenants to plug in. Look, we did this on a Monday. On Wednesday, we had a 3-month tenant. On Friday, we had another 3-month tenant. A week later, one of them canceled because their job got eliminated. And then the next thing you know, we got a 36-day tenant. And that's on Airbnb. So Airbnb, corporate rentals, awesome. And you can do an arbitrage, and I say arbitrage because you don't need to own the property to do it. You just need to find a willing landlord. If you want to learn more about that, go to my article, How to Make $10,000 a Month Passively Without Quitting Your Day Job, something like that. Jonathan Paz, long question here. I'm going to try to answer it. Should I hold on to 4 condos I own free and clear, worth about $110,000 each, and rent for $1,000 each? Okay. They're in a good area and easy to rent with low maintenance. They continue to appreciate. Purchased a couple years ago for about $50K each. But there's always a but. I hate the buts. But bad return on equity, though, since I own them free and clear. Refinancing does not seem worth it with higher interest rates and them being unwarrantable. the percentage of rentals to owner occupants is too high. That's new. I hadn't heard that. So I would need to use portfolio lender of about 8 or 9%. Jonathan, I would just say run the numbers. If you can pull, I don't want to get into that. If you can pull $100,000 even out and reinvest it somewhere, I'm guessing you can do better than the 8 to 9% that you're pulling out. But that's up there. And guys and gals, this is an example of what happens when interest rates go up. I mean, I know he's using a special kind of loan, but what if interest rates really do go up to 8 or 9%? Will what you're doing be ready to weather that storm? Will your strategy be ready? That's one of the reasons I like lease option sandwiches. And by the way, lease option sandwiches use a subject to mortgage, because you're keeping the old mortgage in place. You're jumping in the middle. You're taking over a rent to own on the house, and then you're turning around. You're cleaning it up, paint the shutters, clean the scum out of the bathtub. Did I say that? And then you turn around and put it on a rent to own for somebody else. So you're the meat in the middle of the sandwich, and you're keeping the subject to mortgage in place, and you're renting it out to a new person. Now you got to make sure not to trigger the due on sale clause, but it is certainly doable. In fact, I've never heard of anyone triggering the due on sale clause when they do this, and thousands of people do this. Brian DiMaggio says, what are your thoughts on using a HELOC to own to use as a down payment on an investment property? Love it. Absolutely. I do it myself. Jared Franklin says, as a beginner, should I go for a cheaper C or D class property, or is it better to start with a nicer property to get better grade tenants? Jared, thank you for asking. And I'm just going to give my opinion, but my opinion's pretty strong. Most people who start with a C or D grade tenant, a C or D grade property, are out of the business in a handful of years, and they either start over or never go back, because it is so painful and frustrating in general. You're dealing with toilets, tenants, trash, damage. It's so hard to manage a C or D property. And there's people on here who are going to just probably machine gun me down because they're making millions on C grade properties, and I know that they do. I just can't tolerate it. I am trying to figure out, I don't know how to make a C or D grade property work with the way I do business. I just can't do it. So I'm B'ing up. I would go for a better property. That's me. Thanks for asking. Thomas Lynch says, any good resources on general rules on when roofs, boilers, paint, furnaces need to be replaced, and maintenance schedules? That's why you need a great property manager, because they should have those type of resources. And if you are a BiggerPockets Pro member, you can get access to some, I can't say which, but some resources that can help with stuff like that. Jason Toledo, hello again. Great info as always. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so it is 3 minutes after the following hour, meaning we've been live for an hour and 3 minutes right now. And I am going to shut this down in about 3 more minutes. So if you have one last question, please send it over. If not, good night. Thank you for joining us on BiggerPockets Live. It's been exhilarating. I hope you got your question answered, and I really hope to see you again at BiggerPockets Live. I'm going to take the next few questions, and we're going to call it a night. 10 o'clock on the East Coast, only 7:04 on the West Coast. Rashida Enriquez, I'm not sure if you answered this question. Probably didn't. How would you structure a partnership with a group of friends who have similar amounts of money for down payments? Okay, I skipped that question earlier. Thanks, Glenn. I appreciate that. Thanks, Jonathan. Okay, so I'm going to give you a more detailed answer, since I gave you a terrible answer last time. It can only get better, right? I would carve out 20 to 30% for the person doing all the work, okay? Or here's what I would do. I would carve out, let's say, 30% for all the work combined. And then I would carve out the other 70%. I'm picturing a pie. That's why I'm going like this. Okay. It's not a dunce cap, but maybe it should be. I would picture a pie, and 70% goes to the cash investors for whatever cash they put into that 70. I would take the other 30% and carve it out to all the people doing all the work. And if everybody's doing exactly the same amount of work and exactly the same amount of cash, then you don't need to do that. Just divide it into like 4 if there's 4 people. But that's not going to be the case. Now, then you give the 30% ownership to the people doing all the work and the 70% to people doing all the cash. And of course, that'll be the same people, but you can allocate it up that way. Now, there's one other way to do it, and I'm going to get into the deep, dark secrets of my past right now. We're going to have some fun with this. Another way to do it is called phantom dollars and phantom hours. You add up all the hours that everybody put in, and you charge the group, let's say $20 an hour for that. Everybody keeps track of their own hours, whether they were doing marketing or painting or landscaping or acquisition work, whatever it is, everybody keeps track of their own hours, and you charge the whole deal, let's say $20 an hour for those hours, okay? Then you have phantom dollars, and that is, what is phantom dollars? Oh yeah, so those people get paid phantom dollars, meaning they carve out that work. In other words, if you don't know in advance how much work people are going to be putting in, just do it this way. Pull out those phantom dollars out of the deal and then split the rest by who put in what cash. I really hope that helped. Okay, so that's a little detailed answer. Juan Carlos MG, what was the name of the 3 brothers for wholesaling in San Diego? I think they're named the Green Brothers. I think. Red, blue, green, not purple. I think it's the Green Brothers. I'm being tongue-in-cheek, guys. They're 3 brothers. They're really young. I mean, they're probably 28, and they're crushing it in San Diego. They've got a big staff of people doing wholesaling. You can ask any realtor in town, especially an active realtor, they should know. Sawyer says, thank you, thank you. Shugtai says, thanks a lot. I'm so sorry I butchered your name. I hopefully will get it right if you want to call me and we can chat about your question. Seriously. Zarati Karate, thanks so much, Paul. Okay, everybody, thank you. Have a great evening. I'm going to go watch The Man in the High Castle, Season 3, Episode 1. So, I'm going to go now. It's 10:08 p.m. Have a great evening. I really, really enjoyed this, and I'm ready to call it a night. So, have a great evening. Thank you, and good night.